Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Expert, where we discuss the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the overall market so that you stay informed in the world of Web3. My name is Web3 Spud, and today we have a super special guest on, Jason, CEO and founder of Cleo, recently launched yesterday, I believe. Jason, please say hello to our community.
Hi guys, and thanks for inviting me on. So I look forward to the chat, hearing the latest market news, what's going on today. So no, thank you so much for having me.
No worries. And guys, if you have any questions for Jason, please drop them in the chat. I'll pop up his socials and Cleo socials at the end as well. So make sure to follow, have some questions. And also, guys, if you have any altcoin picks, drop them in the chat. Let me know. But yeah, let's get cracking. Let's head over to the first news story of the day. Bear with me here, guys. So El Salvador's Bitcoin-backed volcano bond to reportedly go live in Q1 2024. So the regulators in El Salvador have given the green light to issue its Bitcoin-backed volcano bond in the first quarter. The country's National Bitcoin Office announced via X that El Salvador's regulator, the Digital Assets Commission, CNAD, had approved the issuance of the volcano bond. This is cool. I've just come from Tenerife, which is a volcanic island, and it makes the mind wonder. We're now strapping volcanoes to power Bitcoin. Where else are we going? Have you ever been to El Salvador? Would you consider moving there once the Bitcoin city's set up, Jason?
I tell you what, I feel like I just got back from Miami. You can tell by my deep tan, right? So I'm really attracted to be somewhere that's warmer for longer than in the UK. But I think I'm certainly intrigued, right? Mm-hmm. I think we're heading to one of two futures. Okay, we're either socially tracked, having to earn credits to be able to exit your 15-minute city and asking permission to buy McDonald's, right? So it's either that or we're sovereign individuals. Now, I hope the world is we're all sovereign individuals. But if not, I do feel like places like El Salvador might create an exit plan for people that genuinely don't want to be kept safe and tied together, right? So so if you'd have asked me that 2 years ago, I'd have said it looks a bit violent, looks a bit ropey, but times are changing and it's nothing but positive news. So I'd love to go. I wish they'd do an event. We'll go sponsor something there maybe next year. So I know. Short answer, I probably would, based on the current climate, for many, many reasons. But can I just say, this is absolutely genius. We've had years of people saying how ungreen crypto is, and it's like destroying the environment. Yet there's all this natural energy going to waste, and Bitcoin, if nothing else, is digital energy. It's I'm a big fan of Sailor, right? But it is. So being able to tap into this kind of stuff, these countries have been harvest for natural resources from other people for far too long. So I just think it's
the banana craze in Central America, been going on for hundreds of years. The Americans have been going over, buying up all the banana plantations. It's similar to that, isn't it? And I'm very happy now that El Salvador is finally in the green on their Bitcoin purchase as well. So that makes me super happy. But yeah, I'd like you say, I'd like to see some crypto events pop up there. Perhaps Cleo can host an event there next year. That would be awesome.
I'm in
there, Jason.
Yeah, I'm in. Let's do it.
Awesome. I'll just scroll down to the end of this article. So yes, Bitcoin would proceed to fall by 77.57% from its 69% all-time high set in November 2021 to the 15,476 low set a year later. But earlier this month, as Bitcoin pushed past 40,000, President Bukele notified the world that El Salvador's Bitcoin investment was 3.6 million in the green, potentially foreshadowing Tuesday's revelation that the volcano bond could go live in the first quarter. This has come up really soon as well. First quarter, we're going to be, your Bitcoin transactions will be powered by a volcano. This is super bullish, and I'm excited to see how it unfolds. But let's head over to the next story of the day, Jason. So Bitcoin to become more scarce than gold post-halving. So Bitcoin scarcity is set to overtake gold after the next halving due to Bitcoin's strong fundamentals of a fixed 21 million supply and the ever-decreasing coin emissions reduced approximately every 4 years by the halving. It has long been compared to gold. Jason, do you hold any gold?
Oh, a tiny little bit in case the zombies attack, but it's physical, right? So, I think a lot of people in crypto have a little bug out bag, right? So, tiny little bit. I kind of feel like gold had its day and had its pump. It's not transportable. It's so I fully buy into Bitcoin being digital gold. I've been in since 2017, I think.
Exactly. The funny thing is, Elon Musk could, create a spaceship, go to one of these other planets, dig deep, and find a whole planet worth of gold. So,
I mean, it's literally laying around on the ground. I tell you what, I am a big, so an insight into me, right? So I love like the documentaries where they follow the guys around getting gold out the earth. I think it's, so they're all up in Nebraska and all that kind of stuff. It's just fascinating, but they're literally pulling it out the ground and then selling it. So it's mega inflationary, and the more effort people put in, like you said, the space race, a lot of people are saying, is because of minerals, including gold. So yeah, a lot of stuff could happen.
It's more finite than gold, and it is a better material, I believe, as well. But I don't hold any platinum. So let me know, guys, in the chat if you hold any gold or platinum. What are you choosing? $100,000 of Bitcoin or $100,000 of gold? Let me know in the chat, guys. We're just. Oh, sorry, Jason. You're gonna say what would you rather take right now? Than
I'm gonna say I think a turkey doesn't vote for Christmas, does it? So I'd imagine with your community, I think everybody would rather have the Bitcoin based on where we are in the cycle, right? But I guess it's prudent to be divested. So
I would like to, we've got LISTI, no doubt Bitcoin. Yeah, like Jason said, I think you'd be in the wrong place if you were saying gold. I'd like to know where the equilibrium is, though. If it is 70k of gold, 100k of Bitcoin, would people take the gold? Because even selling gold is a hassle. Imagine selling 100k's worth of gold. You'd either go to a reputable place in perhaps London, some of the big cities, but then even taking 100k's worth of gold into the cities is a bit of a risk, isn't it? So that's a funny one. Let's head over to the next story of today, guys. So Google search interest for Bitcoin and crypto rises. So the volume of Google searches for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is increasing after Bitcoin's fierce rally. So Bitcoin's Google search interest sharply rose in December following Bitcoin's explosive move past 40,000. However, interest is still massively lower than when Bitcoin traded at its current price in 2022, demonstrating much interest yet to be accrued. The current trajectory could see Bitcoin's interest reach its highest level since the FTX collapse, located around the 50 level. So we can see here interest over time. We're on a nice little uptrend here. But yeah, look, back in 2022, up to 100. Crypto interest following, despite Bitcoin's dominating the spotlight in 2023 due to the multiple spot ETF filings and anticipation surrounding an approval. Crypto interest in general is steadily rising too. I think we've all seen this. We've seen Twitter or X have this rejuvenation. There's lots of influencers back active as well, and lots of traders, investors. Hopefully, it continues into the new year.
People did not want to buy at 15k, right? They didn't want to buy. Hits 45k, everybody wants to buy, right? So the same, the same people that sold at 20 are buying back at 45, and the same people that have said it's going to 0 at 15 are now showing an interest, right? I genuinely think the real interest will come once we break an all-time high, because I think there's majority of the market are waiting for that confirmation that it's just not a bear market bounce, right? Or because that's when it will start to hit the news. So I do think this timed index, this index of interest, I think there's so much space to grow, and I think it will, to use one of your community's phrase, I think it will melt faces in the kindest sense, because I think I personally think predictions of 100k are out. I think we could go when we get to FOMO, which is get towards that 100 index, and it'll with ETFs, it'll go much higher than that. So I think we waited till we started to feel like there was some demand, but also we didn't want to go too late, right? Because we wanted to go out at a very low market cap to give the early movers in the community the most chance to gain over the next, whatever this run is, right? Whether there's 18 months of it left, whether there's 2 years left, you know, just whether we are going to get the fabled super cycle and see 4 years. Like, you know, none of us really know, do we? But for sure, if history repeats, we've got at least a really good 18 months of growth from here, you know, to halving and pass. So now's a great time to be launching a token, I think, because it's not crazy money. People aren't, you know, people are still making considered investments.
Steady growth, isn't it?
But we want to see steady growth, and people that are buying now, you know, and I think there's a lot of interest in altcoins, because I think just mathematically, you know, let's say Bitcoin did go to 100K. Well, that's only just over 2 times, right? But some of the altcoins in that time could go 10 to 15. You know, if we go to 100 million market cap, which I think is conservative for us, that's 100x in the same time. So I think as people look down, and the people who've been here a while know the real gains are to be made in finding the gems and maybe going in on 10 or 15. So yeah, certainly the market sentiment upticking was part of the reason for us to say, okay, let's press the button and let's get the token out, and let's get the people that find us early a chance to, you know, to kind of pick up. The other thing, of course, that's happened alongside this story is Google have sneakily started to allow companies to advertise crypto as well. So I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if this uptick is also because people are allowed to advertise crypto on Google. So that's generating more searches, maybe. I think
you hit the nail on the head there, perhaps. You know, as we see, you know, the regulators and people like Google kind of open back up to crypto, kind of allow some, you know, a lot of these platforms ban crypto advertising, and then, you know, you've got the crypto marketers on the door saying, you know, we can fill out those spots, we can pay you this for marketing. And I think they're going, okay, yeah, actually, and like you said, it's, you know, at 15K, oh, it's a scam. No, we can't allow any crypto advertisement. Now it's creeping back up to all-time high. It's like you know, people like Google, they're going, okay, yeah, no, it's okay to advertise. Maybe it's not a scam. And
well, you think Google, Twitter, Meta, you think all those guys won't take BlackRock, Fidelity, and all those guys' money, right, to advertise their ETF? Of course they will. So I think they're slowly letting people in as a you know, a level of acceptance for when the ETFs get approved, because there's no way they're going to turn down that money, right? I mean, the narrative will be so strong by that point.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that will be super interesting to see where that, you know, when the floodgates open, where that will propel Bitcoin. And I think you're right.
Can I just tell you the toughest decision? So let me just say 2 things before we move on exactly on this topic, right? So the first thing is, anybody that's listening, anybody that's in your community, anybody that's in your Discord has already made it, right? Because this is just the beginning, right? And you can almost close your eyes, throw darts at a dartboard, and you can't fail to make money in the next 18 months, right? So I think that's a really good sign for the people that are here listening. You know, you're not late, we're already here, right? I think the complicated decision that everybody's going to have to make is whether they talk about crypto around the Christmas dinner, right? Because interest is cooking up, right? So interest is cooking up now. We're on a 2-week countdown. So when I see my family at Christmas, do I mention it? Will they mention it? Will somebody ask? It's because we've not talked about it for a couple of years. And if it has, it's kind of been a little bit laughed at. And, oh, I'm glad I didn't do that. Or why did you tell me to do that? So we're almost at that tipping point of it. Can we discuss it with family? And can we tell them what gems we found? And can we tell, you know, so I think everybody's got to plan their Christmas around whether they're still going to keep quiet or whether they're going to share kind of what they know. And it's that interesting time of the year, but I think we're definitely at that sentiment tipping point, I think.
Well, anyone who had spoken about cryptocurrency to their family at the table during Christmas last year, this year, I'm hoping they're going to give you some good presents. At least. But yeah, you know, this will let's lead into, you know, an article we made a week or two ago now regarding Cleo. Super in depth, guys, as well. So if you're wanting to have a look at this article, I'll post the link in the chat. But also go onto Crypto Saving Expert, type in Cleo, because there's lots of detail in this article, guys. Really well made. But Jason, yeah, I'd like, take it away, please. If you could describe what Cleo is, what's your short-term, long-term goals, and if you can drop any alpha for us.
Right. Yeah. Oh, and I will. Right. So, because we've got some news announcements. We've got two big pieces of news we're dropping during December. So, we started over 2 years ago, and I just want to say that the nice thing about Cleo was that we didn't start as a blockchain project. Actually, blockchain fixed our single biggest problem, right? So let me tell you, I'll try and keep this short, I promise, right?
No, don't worry.
So let me start by telling you a brief story, okay? Because you're in marketing, right? So I've been in marketing for 30 years now. I know it may not look like it. You don't need to say it, right? But I was marketing my paper out. No, so 30 years in marketing, this is coming from, right? Now, let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, you could send an email to somebody you'd never met before, and they would open the email and they would click on the link, right? Once upon a time, you could set up a landing page, tell people to read your document, ask them 15 questions to access your document, and they would fill in the form, right? Once upon a time, you could do a webinar and say, come listen to my webinar next Friday, and 80-90% of people would turn up, right? That is a fairy tale today. It just does not exist, right? Cold emails get blocked. You can't get into somebody's inbox, okay? So if I give you a real customer example, right? IBM. So I love IBM enormously, right? Brilliant brand. If you go back 5 years ago, when we used to get somebody to come to a landing page, which was a typical for IBM, read my case study, download my Gartner Magic Quadrant document, for example, right? And I'll bring this back to you guys in a minute, okay, to make it relevant for your community. But you'd get on that page, you'd get between 30 and 40% conversion, okay? So and it would cost about $1 to get somebody to click from LinkedIn, okay? So it's really simple, okay? $100, we get 100 people to the page. 30 to 40 of them would fill in the form. Well, so now my lead acquisition costs are tiny, right? That was when digital marketing started. That's where it all started from, right? Now, what's happened is a number of things that have kind of made that not work. Everything in marketing works until it doesn't, okay? So tactics we were doing 15 years ago don't work today, right? But this is extreme because the first thing is there's been an awakening of people's consciousness to the value of their data and the value of their time and the value of their attention. So every time they reach that page, they go, right, what are you asking me? How many questions are you asking of my personal information? That directly determines how much information, whether they're like to fill in the form or not, okay? So it's this point where there's this value exchange. So we've seen that exact example, 2022, millions of dollars of media spend, 0.7% conversion on the landing page. Okay,
Down
so it went from
40, down from 30 to 40%. Crazy.
So less than 1%. Now the other thing that happened was the clicks got a lot more expensive, right? So instead of paying $1 a click from LinkedIn, and by the way, about 3 years ago, for their targeted buyer, that had gone up to about $4 per click. That had increased as more people went online. During COVID, it spiked to $24 per click. So you were paying $24 a click and having less than 1% conversion on your landing page. And then if you had something like a webinar, your turnout rate dropped by, on average, industry average, dropped from around a 30% turnout to around a 20% turnout. So all of those things, and all of those things led to it costs you more to get a lead, right? So we saw lead costs going from realistically $40 5 years ago to over $1,000 today. for the same. So for the same marketing budget, you get
Yeah.
dramatically less leads. And that was what we were sat saying. This needs to be fixed. Okay. Now, businesses can go one of two ways. Well, actually, no, there's one of three ways. Okay. So for any marketers on listening in, you've got one of three choices. Okay. The hardest choice is what you guys do, right? It's Crypto Saving Expert, which is you pivot your entire business and you give value first.
Yeah.
So you say, right, we're giving away all this alpha, all of this news. We've got free training, come join it. So what you're doing is you're not a charity. You're giving away value for free. And you're relying on this magical thing called reciprocity for people to say, oh, now I trust you. Now I value our relationship. I might subscribe. And then you can quite simply say, oh, we've got an offer, Christmas offer, save 30% on your subscription, right? But you couldn't take that save 30% out to LinkedIn to cold people because they don't know who you are, right? So
exactly right, Jason. Yeah.
You that's your business model, right? So you give value, and then in return, a certain percentage of your community will say, actually, I'm getting a level of alpha here, but I'd quite like to get more, and I'd like to be in on the trading signals, and I can see these guys are genuinely making money. You know what I mean? So that's one strategy. Okay. Now, unfortunately, established businesses can't do that. And I'll tell you simply why. All of their marketing systems are predicated on getting somebody's name and permission to market them first. A lead doesn't exist until that point. So they have to, their whole journey starts when they get your name, basically. So at that point, what a lot of them do is they create really generic content. Okay. I'm a big fan of Gary Vee. I love him because I think he's entertaining. But his marketing strategy is essentially jab, jab, right hook, which is sucker somebody to get their name. Okay. So we talk about things like tripwires, lead magnets, all of that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So but I promise what happens, I haven't been in the weeds for the last 30 years on this thing. If you trick somebody into your pipeline by giving away a piece of FOMO content that's not linked to your solution, they're never going to buy anything. So what happens is marketing we generated thousands of leads. Brilliant. Pass them to sales. Sales ring like 10 of them and go, they're not leads. They're not interested at all.
Yeah.
They downloaded your idiot's guide to how to make money in the future or how to get promoted. That's got nothing to do with identifying a need for our product, right? So both of those choices are hard. Turning the ship around and saying we're customer centric, we give away all of our content, we take all of our forms off our website, and we hope somebody buys our product, right?
Yeah.
If you're an IBM or you're a Google or you're an established business, you can't do that, right? So everybody, I'm getting to the point now. This is the genesis of Cleo, right?
Like we said, the chat is saying this is super educational. Good stream. Keep it going, Jason.
Yeah. So I'll try and make it make sense, right? So the key point is every marketeer has this same problem. It's not unique to an IBM or it's not unique to a Ma and Pa business that's trying to do drop shipping and they're trying to. Everybody's got the same problem, which is how do I meet value when I ask for somebody's permission to market to them? So about 2 years ago, we started doing maybe things that would be frowned upon by some of our bigger clients, which was we do things like Amazon gift cards. Turn up for a sales meeting and we'll give you an Amazon gift card.
Yeah.
It went crazy. We could not book enough sales meetings. So we took that to a real big networking company called Juniper and went, we've done this amazing program with this SaaS company. And they went literally, they looked me in the face and went, you want me to bribe people to attend a sales call? And I went, oh, hang on. Yeah, that's kind of what we did. I feel a bit dirty now. So I actually leave that meeting feeling a little bit dirty. And we're like, what are people interested in that isn't a direct benefit to them, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
And we came up with this concept of a good. And you'll see that a lot in our stuff. Like we've just done a new light paper because our white paper ended up being very detailed and our pitch deck ended up being about 80 slides. So we've done a really short light paper on our website. So the point is, why don't we just say to somebody, your time and attention and data is worth something. but we're not going to give you money. We're going to perform a good in the world on your behalf. That's the simple model, right? So then we can meet value with value. So back to that earlier example, which was our pilot campaign, which was about getting people on a webinar. We're costing about $1,200 to get somebody to turn up, not to register, but actually to turn up, right?
Yeah.
We said to them, if you turn up, we will carbon offset your computer and your phone for the whole of the year, for 12 months. That's 1 ton of carbon offsetting that we will perform in the world for 20 minutes of your time. That changed the whole context of the marketing campaign. Attend this webinar. The webinar is about how to be more sustainable, build a more sustainable infrastructure, but we recognize your time and attention is valuable, especially after COVID, because everybody's on like meeting like that, right? So we recognize your time and attention is valuable. So we will offset a ton of carbon on your behalf. So the amazing thing is we reduced the cost per turn up by about $500. The carbon offset was less than $40 to the client.
Yeah.
So we were actually selling them savings. It's the easiest thing we've ever sold in marketing, because what we're saying is, what's your current cost per lead? We will reduce it. And we even have a lead guarantee where we give them a price and say, we'll reduce it. But in the middle, some good gets done.
Exactly. So, everyone wins. And then most importantly, the planet wins.
Yeah. And you know what? The planet does not care if your motive is profit.
No.
Right? Doesn't care. Just like the guy in the train. Yeah. Just like the guy in the train station that you're giving your Costa sandwich to record it onto TikTok, right? He doesn't care that your motive is clout. He just wants the sandwich, right? So
that's a really good saying.
So we were like, how do we do this? Okay. And then, I mean, the answer genuinely was the blockchain, because how do we prove something's been executed? How do we avoid double counting and double selling, especially of carbon credits? So the blockchain actually fixed our problem, which was creating a transferable currency within the system and making it scalable. So the way that it works is somebody gives their time and attention on content.
Yeah.
They get their reward value in Cleo tokens. We're building out an ecosystem of causes, good projects that sit behind all of the UN's SDGs. So you'll be able to pick, and you can pick now. We're only supporting 7 projects at the moment, but by the new year, we'll be at 150 projects. So we're ramping right up. So the idea being that you pick which cause to back. We're not going to tell you, right? So I'm not going to tell you tree planting. I'm not going to tell you carbon offsetting. I'm not going to say you should care more about the oceans, or you should care about, building schools, for example, right? You choose. Your time has got value. Your value is good in the world. So then what we do is we use the Polygon NFT engine, and we built smart contracts to do this. So the system then effectively, when you spend your money on the good, you get an NFT back. So some of those NFTs might be basic, or some of those NFTs might be artist collaborations. So we're just doing one with a Marvel artist at the moment called Adam Polina. They're amazing. They're really great.
Did you meet them in Miami, or?
Oh, no. This actually was prior to then. We offered to take them to Miami, but they're actually busy with an NFT project as well. But they've dedicated their time to create a collection that's going to go towards building a school in Nepal, because they it's like they're doing like a school rebuild program. Yeah. But the initial antithesis of Cleo was, you want to get leads in your pipeline in an honest way with a fair value of exchange. So work with us to put a reward together that just says, what is your time worth? And the rewards can go as low as 20 cents. So it can be, do this thing and we plant a tree. That's only 20 cents. Yeah. It can go as high as $850, which is carbon offset for life. So we're working on some campaigns at the moment where people do things and we plant some trees and they claim they're NFTs, but then one person in that campaign will win carbon offset for life, which is $850. And that's an NFT that actually grows. The way we do that, and please don't tell anybody, it's a secret, is we plant a giant sequoia tree, because a giant sequoia tree will absorb more carbon for, on average, 280 years than you will put out into the atmosphere, if that makes sense. So it's like a generational carbon offsetting. Yeah. So you get the GPS locations of the tree. It's got a little plaque on it with your name on it. You can go visit it.
This
right?
sounds epic.
Yeah,
I
you
want
can go
that
see it.
Sequoia tree.
Yeah. So we've that was really our start. So we've built the thing over 2 years. We built it on Polygon. We've done a number of different pilots testing the technology, and then we've gone in the last quarter out commercially to real customers. So I mean, it's been incredible. So Google Cloud, Mastercard, HSBC,
Wow.
Lenovo, Hewlett Packard, and we've probably got 15 brands that we're working on campaigns with at the moment. So yeah, but like I said, it's the easiest thing to sell, because in reality, we're selling savings. We're saying we'll reduce your cost per lead, and in that reduction, a percentage of it goes to help the planet.
Amazing.
So it feels good too. But
yeah. You've already brought a smile to my face. It's sometimes in crypto we get painted to be the bad guys, but it's so nice to see a charitable cause, something that's doing good in the world, and hopefully good for the community and the pockets of the holders as well. We do have a question here from Christian. Where do you hope to see Cleo positioned in the space within the next 5 to 10 years? What's your long-term view for Cleo?
Yeah, and actually I can probably drop some alpha on this too.
Ooh.
So
exclusive, guys.
Yeah, so we built our roadmap, right? And there's two parts to it. Following initial launch. So initial launch was start where the money is, effectively, which is advertisers and marketeers. So that's our start point. Then our second point is about reaching mass market users to get users to subscribe. So the way we're doing that is we're launching 3 new programs. This isn't alpha, by the way. This is on our website. But we're launching 3 new programs: Sports for Good, Schools for Good, and Art for Good. So in essence,
as we can see on this graphic here, right?
Yeah. So so in essence, School, Sports, and Arts for Good is where we're digitizing IP, selling it, but it's backed by a good. So the one that we haven't announced, actually. So you're actually going to get 2 bits of alpha in this response. So the one that we haven't announced is a new version of our Sports for Good program, right? This is one that I'm super passionate about.
Yeah.
So a lot of what we do is relatively abstract for a sports club, although they have got, so we're talking to FIFA, clubs have got to meet carbon neutral goals by 2030. So we're working on an approved program for clubs to be able to offer digital assets to offset their carbon, right?
Is this within the UK? Sorry, Jason.
No. This is well, we're talking to UEFA for Europe.
Wow.
And we're talking to FIFA globally. So they're early days conversations, and there's a lot of complicated licensing involved. But clubs, football clubs, have to go carbon neutral by 2030. They need a plan to do it, right? Now, this is good because it doesn't cost the club anything. They just release digital assets. We're talking to them about metaverse and stuff like that. So we're talking to a load of clubs about offering, when they sell a shirt, you pay £10 extra and you get a metaverse version of that shirt to wear in the metaverse, which is an easy sell on for them. But that $10 goes to that £10 goes towards carbon offsetting the club. So fans get great, right? So there's loads of exciting stuff in there. The one that I'm most passionate about in sports is actually feeding children in food insecurity. Amazing. So it's a personal passion project of mine. And what really hammered this home was I went to go and meet a very large football club in the UK.
Yeah.
I won't tell you which one. But we got on the discussion. In their city, there's over a 40% rate of children that are in food insecurity, which means 4 in 10 children are not guaranteed a regular healthy meal. And I tell you what happens is the healthy meal is what school gives them during the week. Yeah. And then at the weekend, it's turkey Twizzlers and Happy Meals, right? So they don't get a healthy meal outside of school. And that's a crime, honestly. Like we send money to foreign countries, and that's fine because they need help too. But look, in the UK, if there's anybody in the community in the UK, we have a big homeless problem and we have a big feeding the kids problem, right? It really is. So this new program for schools, for sports, which we're just about to announce, is a digital version of their match day program. So when you buy the program, what you can do is, for the same price, you can have a paper version, or you get a digital version. Now, the digital version does two things. It removes the the paper issues for their ESG goals. But the saving of the print costs is enough money to generate one meal for a child in their city. So you feed the child in your city. So if you sell 10,000 digital match day programs, 10,000 meals.
And so, do you have figures of how many matchbooks? I imagine it is, for a big club, it is probably around 10,000, isn't it, per game?
Yeah, an average big club will do 10 to 15,000 on a match day, and if it's a special event like a commemorative one or something's happened, they could sell up to 100,000. But here's the kicker, right? Those things are generated as NFTs, so they become collectible. They're transportable globally. So if you've got fans, your opportunity to sell paper programs really are only to people that come to the ground, right? Yes. But if you've got global fans, they can buy them because they're technically NFTs, although not marketed in that way. Yeah. You can build in rarity, so actually they become more valuable. And
sure. One of the things around the globe buying them for sure.
Yeah. One of the things I'm less proud about is all of my children. I've got 3 boys, and they're all Arsenal fans. So it pains me. I don't even get one, right? I mean, the way United are playing, I'm not surprised anyway, but they're all Arsenal fans. But my wife, she's a huge Arsenal fan. She takes them to the match. They don't care for a paper program like I did. No. They don't. I've got match day programs going back to when I was really young, and they're memories for me. Almost with my kids, if it's not on their screen or digital, it almost doesn't exist. It's like it's not real because they can't share it. So, so I've in the last 6 months, I've spoke to probably 12 owners of football clubs, and they're slowly starting to get it. They think it's bums on seats and it's steak and ale pies, right? Yeah. But it's like the digitizing assets opens up a whole new world, and just like people have gone from, it opens up the whole world, and that actually reaches a digital audience. So, in terms of our roadmap, I know this is the longest answer to a very simple question.
No, amazing.
These programs are mass market for us. Like schools, for example, every school in England has to go carbon neutral again by 2030. Okay, so they're working out how to do it. So imagine we've already got 50 schools signed up for this, right? Imagine a school, the children create the art. They load it into Cleo. It becomes a digital asset. The parents buy the digital asset through Cleo with their debit card. The school gets the proceeds for their carbon offsetting, and we're just the layer in the middle, like a digital bake sale. I mean, parents will buy it, grandparents will buy it, aunts will buy it, right? My fridge isn't big enough to stick all the crap my kids come back from home with, right? You know what I mean? I wish it was in a digital wallet. So these are programs that are going to rapidly come online in the new year that take us mass market. The big alpha, I think, which is the new stuff. I'm gonna smash that question so hard in a minute. I tell you, right? So let's talk about that now, right? So we are talking to rugby, cricket. We are talking to we're talking to the UFC and the WWE, who want to go a stage further. So we're talking to the UFC and the WWE about ticketing and allowing somebody to effectively contribute to carbon offsetting the event by adding a percentage to their ticket.
Yes.
Right. So this is completely transportable. So we're going to IPL in the new year. So we're talking to India cricket. We're talking to the cricket.
Yeah.
We're going to go and talk to the whole National League in the UK. We're looking for pledges of 10 clubs. That's all we need, because the complicated bit in the middle of feeding the children on the sports program is actually the production line. So we're doing a deal, which we'll be announcing soon, to set up vertical farms up the spine of the UK. So there'll be produce will be generated locally. There's no point trying to do something sustainable and then shipping the food in from Argentina, right? That makes no sense, right?
That goes completely against.
Yeah. So the produce will be locally sourced, locally distributed in their city. Clubs are going crazy for it, right? So we met the Man City team, but not Man City, the group, the City group. They own 10 football clubs currently. There's so many people trying to do amazing things, like the guys that have bought Newcastle. It's not just about football anymore. It's about community, about regeneration. There's so much good stuff happening. And football needs a good story as well. They really do. So that stuff is, you can probably tell, like, so 30 years in marketing, as a football fan, I get to go talk to football. It's like, I'm like,
combine them.
Yeah. And they listen to you because you're talking about the next 20, 30 years. You're not talking about what the last 20, 30 years was for them.
For sure.
So I guess there's quite a lot of alpha in that, because none of that we've announced.
A lot of alpha there,
right?
I think you've made a lot of people in the chat very bullish. Where you're mentioning UFC, rugby, even myself now. I've got a nice bag of Cleo, but I'm definitely I might have another look. Not financial advice, guys. I might up my bag again.
Yeah, and so the in terms of like our roadmap, so our 5-year roadmap, right? So where we wanted to end up was 2 places. Okay, one was we want to be the de facto app where people can donate their time and receive a reward for good, because we've got great relationships with brands like Samsung, Honor, people like that, right? So they're not interested in the big rewards for a white paper download. They want micro rewards. Watch this product video and we'll give you some tokens, right? So we're working on our iOS and Android applications. Part of that is every person has a wallet. So just in case people do have to show what they're doing to contribute towards their carbon offsetting, if they do, and I hope it doesn't happen, but if they do, we've got quite a lot of political advisors that are helping us navigate how do we become like the de facto wallet, because it's immutable. Everything comes into your Polygon blockchain wallet and it shows everything you've done in time. So we want to be the de facto record of good for people. Now, the other thing that we wanted to be was incredibly open for causes and creators, right? So on our roadmap, you'll see we've got around year 3 bringing out a decentralized marketplace. So the idea being that all the causes around the world can plug into our fundraising mechanism. If creators want to do some split royalties to support a cause too, or want to do a collection for good, they can bring it in too. So, but the problem with that, which I think a lot of people understand, is that there's not a lot of money in that, right? So if we started there, we'd have to raise loads of VC money. And it's micro, and it's a small platform fee. So we're kind of like, when we're making good money in the business, we'll get to build that, but it's very expensive. Now, amazingly, and this is the big news, so we're going to make a big deal about this in the next couple of weeks, is we got introduced to a team that had almost the same vision as us, but they hadn't thought about the marketing. They thought about the people doing good and artists doing good. They raised over $5 million. And they built what I think is an incredible marketplace. Okay. It's Blur sucks. I mean, it really does. People are on Blur because they're farming the Blur tokens. It's an awful interface.
We're seeing that drop down now anyway.
Yeah. Once the farming's done, then they'll shift on something else, right? So I think it's more usable than OpenSea. It's definitely better than Blur. They never did a token. So they never built a token community, but then they were burning a lot and they ran out of money effectively. So about 3 months, they had to take the platform offline. And the platform was called Doing Good. You can check them out on Twitter, right? DOINGUD. Brilliant platform. So we got introduced to the guys. They told us their story. We told them our story. And we said, you know what? You're on our roadmap, but not for 2-3 years, right? But and they showed us what they'd built, and like the scam was almost the same. And we were like, I was like, this is so we've negotiated a deal to buy their assets. We're making their investors good. We're paying
Nice.
off. We're paying
Yep.
off all of their bills with them,
Mhm.
with the founders. And our hope is that the founders will join the Cleo board as well to carry on
Yeah.
their mission. But if they feel they're kind of burnt out through that market and that process, then we pick up the banner and we take it on because it fits perfectly in our roadmap. So I would have answered this question about where we'd be in 3 to 5 years very differently a
Yeah.
month ago, because this accelerates our roadmap by about 2 years. They've got hundreds of causes signed up. They've got creators signed up. So we've effectively signed a legal letter of intent to purchase the assets and do the transfer. We're just working through the legals now. But in essence, it's all that platform that they built. They spent all of the money on it, and it will be adopting our token. So the Cleo token will be one system, but it will be a decentralized marketplace. At the moment, we think we're going to keep the brand because we want to actually...
I was going to ask, will you keep the branding there?
Yeah, I think they've done such good work on the branding, and it's such a good name too, that actually I think doing good as a marketplace is a really strong name. Whereas Cleo's more of a B2B and a B2B to C application layer, if that makes sense. But the single token will operate across all of that environment. So we are, I mean, and even we flew the founder out to Miami to come and spend some time with me. And we took him, he came along to our VIP dinner and our launch, and, you know, we were talking together. So, and absolutely great guy. And we came at the same thing from two different backgrounds, but in essence, it was like, we've kind of done projects we're not the proudest of. So for the next 20 years, we'd like to do something that does some good, even though we're not a charity, we are for profit. Our focus was to build what I think is a really great token model that's simple for people to understand, and it's also simple to measure, but it generates immediate value and long-term value. So it's, I think we're definitely focusing on growth in the new year. Our target is to get to 50 million users within 3 years, which is totally achievable based on the clients we have. We've got one banking client, believe it or not, that if we get it over the line in Q1, would be 28 million users.
Wow. I didn't think banks want to do good.
Well, the nice thing about banks, do you know the trick with banks, I tell you? Is
more alpha, guys, more alpha being dropped.
Is the thing with banks is plastic, right? Nobody, so they have recycling programs to send your bank cards back. Nobody sends them back. Everybody cuts them up, puts them in the bin. And that plastic ends up back in the ocean again. So what the banks are loving, and we're speaking to 3 banks at the moment. HSBC was our first. We're speaking to 3 big banks at the moment. What they're interested in is this concept of plastic net zero. So for every new bank card issued, they take plastic out of the ocean. And we've got a brilliant partner in Thailand that we work with that takes the plastic out of the oceans and recycles it. So having this badge, we're working on this badge, which is like plastic net zero. And then we obviously use the blockchain to prove that the plastics have been taken out. So some people like carbon, like Google like carbon, because everybody says they're a big company in digital. So they like the idea of being, you know, pushing the carbon sign off, but carbon negative. But for banks, for sure, it's plastic. And we're just that little application, right? They decide the promotion, they decide the creative. We're just the technical layer that helps them implement the good in an open and a transparent way. And the only way to do that is with a blockchain. So it's, you know, we need the blockchain. We didn't start with, oh, let's launch a token first, and then what business can we build? It literally was what we built a business, right? How do we generate
the best way? We see it too often that, you know, they build a token, raise a load of money, and then, you know, just forget about the actual end goal of the project. So definitely the best way to do it: build the project, then release the token. Because it gives you time to, you know, think of, you know, the correct utility to build into the token as well. We mentioned, you know, you obviously you went live yesterday. Where can our audience find Cleo?
So at the moment we are exclusively on Bitmart exchange. We're going to be on Uniswap I think in a couple of weeks. I think we've
Awesome.
got lots of internal stuff we're doing. So we're now just ramping up the crypto team. We didn't go on any launch pads, so there's not a flood of tokens coming on the market, if that makes sense. We had a limited percentage that were going out on public sale on Bitmart. We have a small pot for liquidity, but something like 90% of our tokens have been locked away in a vault for future launch. So they've not just been put in a wallet, they've actually been locked in a smart contract. So we want to be super transparent with everything. So
doing everything the official way.
Yeah, so as per the white paper, and we actually have 2 social accounts. So this is our end user one where we talk to customers.
And then here we go.
So we've been growing this, talking to marketing customers. So this is about helping you reduce your leads and stuff like that. Then we have our Cleo token Twitter. So our Cleo token website is just cleo.xyz, whereas our customer site is cleo.tech, if that makes sense. And you'll see on there. So our token model is really simple. It's 3 things. It's the money in the system. So it's velocity. We take 5% of our total revenues. So not profit, because who can figure that out, whether we're telling the truth or not, right? Whereas we publish accounts. So gross revenues, 5% of our gross revenue goes into a buyback and burn, which our community will vote on when and how to execute. So we already have money to burn tokens as we launch our token. The other one, which I think is the most exciting, is we're just setting up an impact investing DAO that is fractionally owned by all of the token holders. So this is where we've got an external ESG board. You can view some of them on our website. So with the DAO, what will happen is we'll get pitched projects to invest in, which will help the future planet, right? Planting trees is not any kind of bloody solution, to be frank, because the tree's either going to get cut down or it's going to die. And when either of those 2 things happens, the carbon comes back into the atmosphere. So actually, we're just signing a partner that does mangroves, because they absorb the carbon in the air and they push it deep underwater. So there are better ways to do it, but there are future solutions that we don't know exist yet, and people need funds. So we're taking another 5% of our revenue. So a total 10% of our total turnover goes towards token support. This second 5% gets put in an investment account that's overseen by our separate ESG board. The board will pitch investment opportunities to the token holders, and the token holders then will vote which ones do we like. So is it, there's some stuff, there's like mangroves farms in Qatar with their royal family, which is one opportunity. Another one is energy recovery from streams at the moment, where it's like a device you put into a river, and as the water runs, it's like a plate, the water runs over it, it generates electricity. So it doesn't spin, so it takes it from the flow. I've got no idea how it works. I'm like, the other one, which is really interesting, is cleaning of water. So there's a couple of really interesting ones. So in the new year, we'll be bringing these investment opportunities to our token holders. But ultimately, the idea is that we have an independently managed investment DAO. We'll put the money in out of our commercial revenues. Token holders own it, in effect. And as this grows, they can decide, right, do we divest some of that profits and distribute it? Do we divest it and do a bigger buyback and burn? Or do we roll it into another project, for example? So it will be completely owned by the community. And what we wanted to do was not just get the community sit looking at charts. Am I a bit richer today? Am I a bit poorer? Is it going up?
Yeah.
We wanted to get them involved in our mission, which was just doing some good almost passively. Doing good shouldn't be a tax, right? It should come out of savings or efficiency gains. So just by holding the token, you're already doing good because it's backed by good. And actually the profit that generates is being invested in new technologies that then, so it's kind of cyclical, in that sense. So a part of getting the token out was actually to start to build the community. We could have waited till the new year. And we are talking to much bigger exchanges than Bitmart, although I think Bitmart are great, by the way. It's like we've spoke to loads of exchanges. We're talking to some really big exchanges, but their onboarding process is like 4 4 months.
Yeah,
Something like
so many hoops to jump through, isn't it? A lot of the time,
that.
and
Especially the
often
US ones.
dead end.
Especially the US regulated ones that are keen.
Yeah.
I met a couple in Miami recently, and we're hoping that we are fully on board before Singapore. Is it 2049? Which one is it? So next,
2049. Yeah, I believe
so
this one in Abu Dhabi as well in April, and then Singapore's in September or October next year, I think.
yeah, so somewhere around there. So we've got our 2 big exchanges that are our target.
Yeah.
I think we'll be on the bigger derivative exchanges early next year. So the ones that are more derivatives trading driven, but the big spot guys, I cannot say how long it's going to take. So every interaction has been positive, but they're like, could take 4 months, could take 5 months. There's so much view, especially on the American guys, of like, being sued or being pulled up on stuff, that they're super, super nervous about what ones they list. So the due diligence process is really quite long. So we will get we'll get on some dexes soon, but we just wanted to start to get the community out. So Bitmart was a great option for us. The team have been great. We're doing some joint marketing with them, just about to kick off. So yeah, it's a great chance for people to get in early. I think our market cap on launch, if you exclude liquidity, which is just what you have to put on the exchange, our market cap at launch was like 750,000 market cap, and we're probably at about 1.3 million now, something like that. So we deliberately, we went out at 1.2 cents and we're just about 1.8. So we went out low and early, like I said earlier, to give people a chance to get in now. We want to form an advisory council out of our token holders that can work with us on a weekly basis and talk to our team about what's going on and what news is coming up and stuff like that. So yeah, we were keen to get the token in market, but all I'd say is check it out. Here it is. This is not remotely investing advice. We're on a mission. The dynamics of the token are somewhat disconnected from the success of the business, if that makes sense. So I'm mega confident about our business and about our pipeline. Whether it captures the imagination of token holders is almost down to how well our community can explain it. And we're not a simple to explain meme coin, right? You know what I mean? So it takes a little bit. It's a bit more considered to think about what is this token doing and how's its value going to be derived. But it's an incredible market opportunity. The world's our oyster in terms of who we talk to. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting few years, I think.
Jason, today, you've really dropped some alpha on our community. It's really interesting to hear what Cleo's doing. It's super ambitious, and I'm super keen on the project. I met you in September now at Zebu Live, and it was amazing hearing from you, hearing your passion for Cleo as well, and cryptocurrency in general. I know a lot of the audience now are going to be wondering, how they can get more involved in Cleo. Where would you direct them, if they want to, read a little bit more, get involved with the community, and perhaps hear more from yourself as well?
Yeah, so if you go to Cleo.xyz, you'll see our social, our Discord, our Telegram link, our YouTube. We have been kind of blogging our journey. So, kind of weekly, bi-weekly videos of updates. So we're about 25 videos in now telling our story. If anybody wants to go, kind of check out our whole journey as we've kind of gone through. In that, we do an AMA as well. So we've got a special channel in our Discord where people can just ask a question, and we'll answer that question in the next video. We also at the moment still have an airdrop campaign going on, like a social missions campaign. So if people want to earn some Cleo by doing some tasks, if you go to our Cleo Twitter, the Cleo token Twitter, we've got some campaigns going on at the moment. So people can earn some stuff too. We've got some really nice merchandise. We've got some nice hoodies that I was modeling at Zebu.
Ooh, yeah, they are. I've seen them, guys. They are fire.
This is our Art for Good collection, right? So this is one of the NFTs that's going towards building the school in Nepal. So there's 5 of these. So yeah, so we're doing a bit of a giveaway too.
I just want to say, Jason, I met Jason in Zebu back in September, and the first thing I commented on was his fashion sense. He's very fashionable. He's got great artistic vision. So I'm sure that the merch is going to be top quality. And obviously, you know, you're at Basel in Miami, hanging with all the NFT and the artists there. That must have been super amazing.
I can't tell you. So part of going out there was to find artists to onboard onto the platform and to talk about it. And it was such an amazing response. I mean, from artists like Snowfro, the inventor of Squiggles. I mean, like, it was just everybody was there. My only sad thing is, so I had really great conversation with Klon at Cool Cats. So he's looking for other collaborations to do. You know, Luca at Pudgy's. I mean, my God, I've got to tell you, right? So my highlight. So we did like a big VIP dinner. We had like the founder. We had Joe Lubin there. We had all sorts of people where we had this big VIP event with the team at Rug Radio. So they actually had a house. So we sponsored the house. So we had like Cleo stuff going on in the house. I did a speech at the dinner. Did some interviews with people like Thread Guy, who I just love on the NFT scene. So, you know, all of this stuff with all of these guys, that load of buzz about different projects and tokens and stuff like that. My favorite moment was I went to the Pudgy Penguins thing, and not the founder, because it's not fair to call him the founder, the guy that saved Pudgy Penguins. So Luca bought Pudgy Penguins effectively off Cole. He's paid a load of money for an NFT project that was completely on the floor.
Yeah.
You know, Cole, he was just a young guy with an NFT project that took off, right? So, but Luke had a vision, right? So this guy has saved NFTs at the moment. Pudgy Penguins are killing it, right?
Yeah.
The event, he stood at the entrance to the event, shook everybody's hand that was going in, high-fived them. I had a hug. We talked about my Pudgy. He literally, as you scanned in to go in, you know, some of the events, you know, people were a bit aloof. It was a bit to get to talk to them. You know, it was a little bit clicky.
He was there on the front door.
On the front door, shaking out, giving away merchandise.
Yeah, you've got the Pudgy Penguin one, jumper on now. Amazing.
Yeah, so I said, I got kids. So it was like, oh, here you go. So gave me some squishy Pudgies from the event to bring home for the kids. So it was just incredible. Yeah, really, you know, really amazing community. And it feels like we're saying like that we're back. It feels like, you know, we are very back, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it feels good. A load of buzz. I don't know in terms of like next, whether you talk about other tokens, right? But I can tell you what they were. I can tell you what everybody there. I can tell you what everybody in Art Basel was talking about.
Yeah.
When you talk about, you know.
Yeah, we'll. I think we're kind of wrap up here today. So yeah, well, if you want to mention the tokens that they were talking about, go for it. What was on everyone's lips in Miami?
So not investing advice in any way.
No.
The one that everybody was consistent. There was a couple of projects people were consistently bullish on. The one everybody was nuts about, Solana.
Yes.
That was and real shock for me, because we all know, and especially in your community who are informed, we all know FTX Treasury has got a load that are going to be dumped on the market at some point, you know, but so bullish on Solana. The other project that people were really bullish on is Audi, like, and Bitcoin ordinals in general, which is, you know, you can buy on exchanges. You don't need to set up a decentralized Bitcoin wallet for it. So Audi was one
on the chat a lot, and it's a very, you know, it's a very controversial pick, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, well, especially with the rumors about them plugging the issue that allows them to create ordinals, right? But you know, ordinals are flying, and then I spent quite a bit of time with the Rect guys. I don't know if you follow the Rect guys.
Yeah.
Ovi, Mando, those guys, and they are just incredible. They're such nice guys. I mean, like, you've never met nicer people, and they'll give you their time, and you sit and talk. It's like unbelievable. Everybody just wanted to talk to Ovi, who's OSF Rect. We just wanted to talk to him about his boxing, because he was boxing in Dubai recently at the crypto boxing event.
We'll have to get Jordan on that.
Yeah, those guys were like mad on Pepe and Bonk, and I still can't quite wrap my head around it, right? But it seems like dogs will be flipped by frogs, and then frogs will be flipped by Bonk, probably in the meme coin bit. But I still can't wrap my head around why Bonk is a good investment at its current market cap, or
I've,
Pepe?
I've got to admit, so I'm very well tapped into the Solana community. I go to all the Solana events, and when I was in Taiwan, Taipei, in May, I actually met with the founders of Bonk, and I've got to tell you, Jason, they just get it. They just understand crypto. They're lovely, like you said. Lovely people. There's no hierarchy. Shaking everyone's hand, like you said. Had some really good conversations with the founder Nom. Super genuine guy, and they put on some of the funnest events. They do lots of side events in Solana Breakpoint Amsterdam recently. They were doing like kind of inflatable boxing where you could bet Bonk, and it was just the funniest thing. We're all us degens are there betting hundreds of dollars of Bonk on different fighters, and it's our friends are in the ring, and it was the funniest thing. And guess what? Marketing wise, it just gets plastered everywhere, and that's why they have they flipped Pepe now. That's why Bonk are in the top 100. And I've got to admit, unfortunately, I faded Bonk. I bought a small bag, and I think from going to the events, I got a few airdrops, I got a few bits and bobs, but realistically, I faded it because I didn't want to invest in a meme coin during a bear market. But
yeah, and there, look where it's gone, and they're like super bullish. Yeah, so definitely the vibe of Miami is that we're back.
Yes,
right. The market needed a pullback, right? It was so overheated. It needed, so there's no FUD in this pullback. It was just everything was overbought. We just needed a bit of a breather, right? And I hope we have a bit of a breather, and then we kick on for Christmas. But certainly, Solana was on everybody's lips. Was like, building on Solana. Everyone was like, "Why didn't you build Cleo on Solana?" And I was like, "But we were more about interoperability and green credentials, because Polygon is minus net zero. They're beyond net zero, so it was about that more than anything else." But yeah, the kids were crazy on Bonk too. So I bought a small, but I tell you, it was the most expensive trip because I kept buying NFTs of people that I met.
Yeah.
And then I kept buying altcoins when somebody did it. So I wish I'd left my ledger at home. So it was tiring.
Well, hopefully, in a few months' time, the prices will have gone up, and hopefully those NFTs would have paid for your trip.
Yeah, hopefully.
We'll just give everyone some final thoughts. We've been on for over an hour now, but it's been a super educational, insightful stream. Thank you, Jason, for coming, for sure. I'd like to invite you on again soon as well, when you have some time. I know you're super busy right now, but yeah, guys, make sure to follow Cleo at the Cleo token, and the other one was Cleo.tech as well. So there's 2 Twitters to follow there, guys. Go over to Cleo.xyz as well. From there, you'll find the official Discord, official YouTube, etc. Join the Discord, say that you watched the stream, say Spud sent you, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the Discord as well. So yeah, thank you, Jason, for an amazing stream today. And yeah, let's run it back sometime.
Yeah, anytime, mate. Honestly, thank you for having me on. It was great to come and meet. Big fan of what you guys are doing. So keep up the good work. And anytime you want me to come on and have a chat, even if it's not about Cleo, I'll just come and talk to you about what trainers I bought, right? So, although can I leave you with some very last alpha, right?
Yes, please.
Which has got nothing to do with us, right? But I'm going to tell you right now.
I think this is alpha drop number 5, guys. This is full of alpha.
This is merch. This is merch rather than anything else.
Yeah.
So this is a merch thing, right? So so I spoke to somebody, I had a meeting with not a meeting. I had a really good get together with somebody at Yuga who told me that if anybody missed so Bored Ape did a collaboration with the Bathing Ape.
Yes.
And they sold out online super quick. So he believes that there'll be a limited drop in Bathing Ape stores on the 16th of December. Wow. So if anybody was after, I mean, they've done some amazing, I managed to get the hoodie. The trainers are selling for $3,000 on StockX at the moment. As well. So yeah, so apparently 16th limited stock. So it may slip a couple of days, but there is stock in before Christmas. They're getting limited stock. You don't need to have an ape to buy it like you did online. It's for Bathing Ape people.
Wow.
Yeah. So I only say that because you like my bathing ape trainers when I came when we met at Zebu, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so there's a merch drop coming on in bathing ape stores for their collaboration with Bored Ape before Christmas.
Woo. Thank you, Jason. Thank you for the alpha. Look forward to having you back on the stream. Guys, go show Cleo some love. Thank you very much. Let's go.